What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to a special bonus episode that we just decided to randomly do of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me as always is Robert DeFelice.
Tony, I could not have been happier than when you sent me a message that said I want to do more mock drafts.
Yeah. Well, it's just, we had a lot of fun the other day doing this for a dark cast. It wasn't the plan for the dark cast. I mean, the dark cast, if you listened to the dark cast, it was, hey, let's do one dark cast and one bonus features for fanboys. Then it became, let's just combine them. And then we just started rambling because that's kind of what we do on the dark cast. And we ended up doing a 1995 mock draft. And it was so much fun, and it was like a good change of pace from just like the average crap we work on all the time, that we got a little bit stressed out earlier today, and I'm just kind of like, you know what, I want another change of pace. Screw it. Let me take 2 hours out of my time, which is awful. I'm sure in the future I'm gonna be like, damn it, past Tony. But I want a break, and this is a way to get a little bit of work done and get a break at the same time. Give you guys something, give us something to do, have a little bit of fun. So that's kind of what we're getting at here. It's not the main event of the week. That's going to be the Hell in a Cell predictions. We're going to get to that on Wednesday. Still going to do the hot tags. Still going to have your next episode of the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast, and still going to have the post show for Hell in a Cell. But why not? Why not do something like this, right?
Ah, listen, I think that this is great. So much so that for the first time in Smart Moment history, yeah, I'm doing that bit. I did the work here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, you did the setup work for this.
I did. I got the 1996 roster in a Google spreadsheet, and we're going to be looking at the spreadsheet and making our decisions. Because as we've said, that's about as easy as it is. You make a spreadsheet of guys that you have, and you look at it and you see who would go where. Now, as we go along, I will be explaining how I broke this down. But Tony, I'm sure there's still a lot of in-house work for you to do. So why don't you fill the people in on how they can support us?
I want to make some kind of an in your house joke, but I can't think of it.
And
So yeah, I mean, if you don't know what we're talking about by the idea that this is a dark cast that is suddenly just a random video on YouTube, the dark casts are part of the Patreon. And if you go to patreon.com/smarkoutmoment, you'll see that there are different tiers, just the way that there is for any other Patreon that's out there. And when you hit the $10 and up tier, it's where it gives you access to special podcasts that we do only on that. Now, it's the same thing when it comes to the YouTube membership. If you hit join, then you'll end up getting it on there because I'll end up uploading things separately like that. But you're only going to hear them on those. So, for instance, if you're thinking to yourself right now, I don't remember seeing the 1995 thing. What are the guys talking about? It's because it was Darkcast. It's behind that paywall. And yeah, I don't like the whole paywall type thing, but you got to do something. You got to do it. And that is something that I feel it gives everybody something extra instead of just, that's $10 for, dissipating into nothingness. I love the idea of doing more dark casts. I always want to do more of them, and this was going to be potentially another dark cast, but I thought, why not have it as a YouTube video for everybody else to enjoy and to give you guys a little bit of an insight of what the dark casts are? Because keep in mind, the dark casts we're more free flowing. We have no form to everything. It's not like how this is wrestling with the past and it's a theme and we're going to kind of rein ourselves in a little bit. Not as much. And you don't get plugs on the Darkcast and stuff. So if you're annoyed with me doing the whole make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter or whatever. We don't even bother introducing ourselves on the Darkcast because you know us by now. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know us already where we didn't have to do that on this. But if you are new to this whole setup and you're not subscribed and you don't know, but if you like this, hit that subscribe button, ring that little notification bell, hit the like button as well, whether or not you are subscribed. You could always do that. There's a little applause button too. You can follow us, as I said, on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment. If you don't know about the whole Fanboys Anonymous side of things and you were wondering what the bonus features are, well, go to fanboysanonymous.com and you will find everything on the geek culture spectrum that's not pro wrestling related over on that website. There's the YouTube channel. There's all the podcast material there. There's the Patreon there if you want to show your support for that. There's also the merchandise shops, TeePublic and Redbubble. So check them out. They're both for the fanboy stuff, this Mark Out Moment stuff, and a Mango Tees. That's more like political stuff and, just random BS. Like if you want a shirt that says "Go Sports," it's just like one of those. Somebody bought one of those the other day. I was like, good. Somebody out there's wearing a shirt that just says "Go Sports," and yeah, it's kind of something that we just sort of wanted to do on a fly here, and we invite you to have fun with us in whatever fashion you can in the comment section below. So tell us your thoughts on what's the best roster that we make, or why did you pick this person before that person, or whatever. And if you want more of these things, remember, not only do you potentially get these on the dark casts and whatever else we randomly decide to talk about, but you can also take advantage of the pick your poison tier, because if you're like, man, these are so much fun, and I want them to do, a 2002 mock draft or a 1980 whatever mock draft, pick your poison. If you donate to that level of the Patreon, you get to tell us that that's what you want us to do, and then we'll do it. That works. So the mock draft idea, in and of itself, this is how it's going to work. We were doing this the other day with a mock draft of 1995. We were talking about the idea that what if there was a second show back then? Like we have like Raw and SmackDown right now. So we carried that over. Then we started to try to talk about the idea of, well, who would be a part of what brand and whatever. And then that got us to when we're just like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. So we're gonna do the same thing here. It's we got Monday Night Raw, and then we need to figure out what's that second show, because SmackDown didn't exist back in 1996. So I see that you've gone with the idea that you think that it would be Superstars.
I am going with Superstars for 96. If you were subscribed to the Darkcast here, you would know that for 95, I chose Action Zone. Reason being is because Action Zone was a new project at the time. It was a Sunday morning show on USA, and they were trying to build it up. And I felt like if I was in control in 95, I would make it the Action Zone. Of course, from like 86 and up until 96, Superstars was actually the main show outside of Raw. So I went with Superstars for the blue brand of sorts. And yeah, I think it's a good way to look at it. You've got the Monday Night Wars going on, but you can also have the Saturday Night Wars going on. Superstars is on Saturday. WCW Saturday Nights on Saturday. I think it'd be a lot of fun, and let's see how it goes.
I do kind of imagine that if they decided that they wanted to do a random thing, they would have come up with some really awful extra name, like that whole like Jacked with the two Ks and all that. But
Yeah, it would have been like Saturday Night. It would have been something like Shotgun Saturday Night, but it would have been a lot more tame as
yeah,
opposed
because
to
the
doing
shotgun
it.
name, little harsh.
Yeah.
But I don't know what they would have gone with. I don't know. But so that's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna go under the assumption that the second show is called Superstars, so it's Raw and Superstars. That's what we're going for. And we're gonna go. We got the whole roster now that Rob had put that up. You guys can't see it on your screens because we're not doing like a video based off of this, but we've got them all ready to pick. We got single stars, we got tag teams. You've got separately job guys, job tag teams, and then all the auxiliary kind of people just for the sake of it. Like we got Jim Ross and we got Mr. Perfect, because Mr.
Right,
Perfect's not a wrestler at the time.
because you're gonna want to also pick, your announce team, and you've got guys now like Doc Hendricks and a Kevin Kelly, and you even have a name like Honky Tonk Man. I want to explain the roster a little bit before we actually explain some of the names on the roster. I asked you what's a good cutoff point. You said end of 96, but I thought, okay, that takes out names like the Ultimate Warrior, or names such as, the Body Donnas for the tag team scene. So what I did was I started it from May of 96 because I felt like that was a good cutoff point. So there's no Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. They're already out the door. But that does give us some leeway with names such as Yokozuna and, you know, um, Jake the Snake, who would have been out of there by the end of 96. But that also gives us some leeway where, Fake Razor and Diesel are on this list. So if you want to draft Fake Razor and Diesel, you can. That also gives us Rocky Maivia. You've got names such as Psycho Sid, Ultimate Warrior's here, so we can play around with this. Because if you listen to our 95 show, you know that we didn't just go with then. We went with what could we do with the guys then. So I drafted Dean Douglas because I'm like, I'd make something of him and he wouldn't leave, kind of thing. And
Right.
that's what we got here. Plus, you know, how often are you gonna get to talk about job guys like who?
Who?
Who is who?
What?
No, who?
Well, how?
No, who?
When?
And if you don't know the horrible bit we're doing, who is an actual job guy under a mask played by WWE Hall of Famer Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, and who was in a red and yellow mask, and he was basically mimicking Hulk Hogan. He was supposed to team with what, but we never got to what. But since who was on the roster in '96, we got ourselves a who for a job guy. Now, just because they're job guys doesn't mean you got to use them that way. You know,
Right.
the Hardy Boys are under the job team category, but you can draft the Hardy Boys and make them your tag champions if you want.
Otherwise known as the Jinx Brothers?
Yeah. Upon doing research for this, I found that the Grimm twins were Jacob and Eli Blue, otherwise known as the Harris brothers. And they were briefly getting some squash wins on Superstars. One of the wins is against the Jinx brothers, which is Matt and Jeff Hardy in these awful red and green masked attires with this fake long hair. It's the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, but you know, I'm not even sure Jeff was 18 at the time. So good for them for being on TV. That like you got guys like Duke the Dumpster Drosy. You can make him a top guy if you want to. I wouldn't suggest it, but it's possible. Other people playing double duty. You got Lawler. Lawler is under the wrestler category, but he can also be a commentator. You've got Sunny. Sunny's a manager, but if you need her to do some ring announcing, maybe you draft her in that way. Uh, Jim Ross could be a manager. He was managing Fake Razor and Diesel for a time. And Jim Cornette is probably the most interesting person here because I have him in auxiliary if you want him as a commentator, but he could also manage Vader or Owen or Bulldog, depending on how you want to go with this.
So now we didn't draft commentators and stuff before.
Yeah, there's a lot more in 96 than there was in 95.
I'm wondering if maybe we should do like a draft of that before the other ones are available or something. Because you'd have to, no matter what, you'd have to balance it out. Like it wouldn't be the type of thing where midway through you've picked a commentary team and I haven't yet, and then you just keep picking more of them. There's nobody to call the show. Like they would never let that happen, you know?
Right.
So I'm thinking maybe we should do like we each pick ring announcer and like I guess like two people on commentary, and then we go into the other stuff or something.
I was thinking very much along the same lines, but I want to pick one ring announcer, two commentators, and an authority. One person to play the authority. So you got Gorilla Monsoon, Mr. Perfect. If you want to go with Vince, that is an option. One person for authority, two commentators, and a ring announcer. Oh, and a backstage interviewer. So 4 picks for this: commentators, ring announcer, backstage, and authority.
All right, let me write that down. Commentator, ring announcer. We're gonna go with authority figure and backstage interviewer. Do we have enough people for that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, there you go. We got one person's gonna be the offset for that side of things. But that'll be fun. You know, we'll figure that out. So why don't we do that? Who's going first?
Your Monday Night Raw. You can go first.
All right, I'm gonna then go if we're sticking auxiliary here, which we're gonna do that first. So people would be like, "Why aren't you picking like Brian Pillman or something like that?" I'm gonna say I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna go Howard Finkel as my ring announcer.
I respect that. For my ring announcer, I will select Handsome Doc Hendricks, Michael Hayes. He can do both Ring announcing, commentary, interviewer. He's an all-tool player. So let's go with Doc.
I'm gonna 1996. 96. I'm so tempted to go in 4 different directions here. For the sake of making sure I've got him, I'm gonna go Vince McMahon.
I respect that. I do respect that.
That way, he's there in case I want him as a commentator. He could be an authority figure.
My commentary, my first commentary pick will be good old JR, Jim Ross.
I figured you'd nab him. Let's move Doc Hendricks from that. There you go. Now we're keeping Lawler separate, right? Yeah.
Lawler is in the wrestler category, so I guess we'll draft him last.
We'll keep him separate. Yeah. All right, then I'm gonna go Jim Cornette. I think that he could balance out Vince a little bit.
Let's see. Who would I pair Jim Ross with? I'll pair Jim Ross with Gorilla Monsoon.
By God. You know where I'm going here. Sunny.
Oh.
Got her as my backstage interviewer, but for many other things.
I was almost certain that you picked Todd Pettengill. I had this. I was mentally certain that I was going to pick Kevin Kelly because you picked Todd. But if Todd is available, I'll gladly take Todd Pettengill.
Yep, Todd is available. So then I'll grab Kevin Kelly.
All right, and so who are you going to make your authority?
You know what? I could do any of them, really, for the most part. I could do Vince, I could do Cornette, and I could do Sonny. Maybe I'll make Sonny my authority figure.
How raw is it going to get?
And I'll make Kevin Kelly my backstage interviewer.
All right, well, I've got Doc as my ring announcer, commentary team of JR and Gorilla, an interviewer and Todd Pettengill, and my superstars authority figure, Mr. Perfect.
Not a bad authority figure. He is a superstar.
He is. And that leaves the one auxiliary person left out here is the Honky Tonk Man, but there can always be another role for him.
Yeah.
Solid choices.
Which he'll go in that list of like, yeah, now you can draft him if you want to. Yeah. So that opens up, now we're on the superstars themselves.
We are on the superstars.
And you know what? I don't think that this is looking bad already because, I mean, in one show, like, you got JR and Monsoon. It's a little bit more classic. Top Pettingill's out there just being like, you know, wacky Todd. Mr. Perfect's like a good representative of the superstar branding. Hendricks could do a good job as a ring announcer, I think.
I would agree.
Sunny, of course, she was fantastic as a manager. Kevin Kelly's a good backstage interviewer, dude. Cornette and Vince McMahon go back and forth. They're all like just completely nuts, and Finkel's out there ring announcing. Down with that. Alrighty, okay. So let's go for my first draft of my actual draft. It's 1996. I gotta pick him. It's Shawn Michaels.
All right. For a little bit of again, for those who didn't see the first draft, I picked Shawn in the last one. For my first pick, again, like Tony says, it's 1986. I've got to pick him, Bret the Hitman Hart. We have successfully kept Bret Hart in the WWF by keeping him away from Shawn Michaels.
That probably would happen though too. They probably would go on separate brands because they're just annoyed at each other and everything. And I'm gonna do it. It's Undertaker.
Ugh. So here's where I immediately have the issue that we didn't have in uh, 95. It's harder here because there's a lot less stars
Yeah.
in 96.
I mean, the fact that we don't have Razor and Diesel alone, those made up two of our big people on our drafts before.
Like Jeff Jarrett's missing, and
Oh, that's right, Jarrett is missing. Yeah, I've misread Double J Jesse James as Jeff Jarrett at
Double J
first.
Jeff Jarrett. Nope, it's Road Dogg.
I was actually looking at him as one of my next picks. Wouldn't make that mistake.
All right, my second pick will be Vader.
Fuck, he was another one I was really looking at. Let's see then. I got my in-ring worker with that, with Shawn Michaels. So there's still a lot of talent though. That's the thing.
Yeah, there's talent. It's just that they're not like, you're not looking at it like you are the 95 roster.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Mankind.
Damn it.
Foley versus Shawn can work. Foley versus Taker, we know how great that is. I mean, Mind Games. We know Shawn.
We know how great
versus
both of them are, yeah. In that same spirit, my next pick will be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Damn.
Because obviously Austin Brett is magic.
Yeah.
I'm sure he could work well with Vader.
Want to get myself another talented dude. It's maybe a little bit underrated during this time frame. I'm going to go Triple H.
All right, so you have taken Shawn Michaels and Triple H. You have the remnants of the Click, and in that vein, I'm going to select Owen Hart.
Shit. He was the guy I'm like, I'm gonna pick Owen. No, I gotta grab Triple H. Maybe he's gonna go with somebody like a I don't know, anybody else other than that. I thought you might go with like Sid or Yoko because you don't have like you have Vader. Fuck, I didn't think about that. I was thinking you didn't have a big guy. Fuck, I wanted Owen so bad. Damn it. Just so you don't have them all, I'm gonna take British Bulldog.
Oh, you can. Okay, all right, I understand. And
I'll be spiteful.
With my 10th overall pick, but my 5th superstar pick, I will select Mark Marrow with Sable.
Not a bad pick.
Not a bad pick at all. It's again, you got to look at this through 1996 eyes. We're 10 picks in overall. I'll just explain my roster briefly. Bret Hart is your anchor. Vader is your top heel. Stone Cold Steve Austin is the heel on the rise. Owen Hart, how can you go wrong? Mark Marrow, genuinely, I think a little underrated because he's not the greatest worker, but he's not bad.
Yeah, and you got Sable with him. So the fact that I have Sonny on my side, you've got sex appeal on your side with Sable.
Yeah, absolutely. And eventually Sable will outshine everybody on this roster that's not named Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to miss out on having a tag team. I'm gonna go Smoking Guns. Because I got Billy Gunn on that one and Bart Gunn. Bart Gunn underrated. Billy Gunn very underrated in some ways, and there's a little bit more of a DX side.
Christ.
You didn't see that pick coming, did you?
Not so early, anyway.
I lost Owen. I want to make sure I got that.
Yeah, I was actually banking on Owen and Bulldog being a tag team.
Fuck you.
I'll take Hog and Pig, the Godwins.
At first, I'm like, Hog, who the fuck? Yeah, right.
Henry O and Phineas I, Hog and Pig.
That is pretty much the way to balance that out.
Okay.
Good old Hog and Pig. So we got some country boys and some country boys.
Yeah, there you go.
Who do I
For
go with?
context, this year, the tag team titles were legitimately traded between the Godwins, the Vaidanas, and the Guns until Owen and Bulldog just take it in September.
Who? Some people with some potential here. Oh, damn. I got a feeling if I don't go with this one person, that you're going to snatch up the other person that I'm thinking of. And if I go, like, there's two people that I'm debating between. And I'm like almost 100% sure the one I don't go with, you're going to end up grabbing.
I got my eye on one person right now. I'm hoping he doesn't come out of your mouth.
I'll play riskier. I'm going Farouk.
Okay. I'm going Psycho Sid.
Fuck, he was the other guy. I knew it. I knew it. I'm like, oh, I gotta get Sid, but if I get Sid, he's gonna take Farouk. If I take Farouk, he's gonna take Sid. Fuck. All right. I feel like I need another big guy. So I'm gonna go actually Crush with Clarence Mason.
All right, so Tony at this point is trying to select the Nation of Domination, and
I didn't even think about that. Crush to me is not a Nation of Domination, dude.
I'm just gonna allow that because the Nation's great.
Whenever somebody says like Nation of Domination, I never think of the version with Savio and for that matter, even Owen Hart. Like I never tend to think of that.
So I have Rikishi Fatu under Fatu/Sultan because early in the year he's Fatu, and towards the end of the year he does the Sultan gimmick. I'm going to draft him as Fatu.
Makes sense. That would probably be the better thing for him because if he goes over as Fatu, he doesn't have to be the Sultan where he's like a limited gimmick. He could just be more along the lines of the Rikishi side of things. A little nitpick that I've always had a problem with. So many people, Jim Ross in particular, always refer to him as Rakishi. It's Rakishi, not Rikishi.
Yeah, Rikishi.
Rakishi. It's like totally not how it is. I'll add Fatu there for you. Yeah, I don't know, something happened there. I just figured I'd add it in there for you. For that matter, I'll go Rocky Maivia. He's the old blue chipper around this time frame, so he kind of sucks.
You piece of shit. All right, here's the kicker. It's 1996. To tag with Fatu as kind of like that Samoan tag team deal, got Yokozuna.
Were you gonna go with a Rocky and Fatu?
I was not. I was gonna go with Yokozuna. I just didn't think you'd take Rocky.
I'm gonna go with the. No. Fine, I won't go with TL Hopper.
Stressful, huh?
It is stressful. I'm gonna go Goldust and Marlena.
Oh,
God. Is that what you're worried about?
No, but now I'm just gonna grab him. Ahmed Johnson.
You can take Ahmed.
I'm like, listen, I know everything is like, why is he going to Ahmed Johnson? Because we're in 1996 and this roster is already looking bare and it's a scary time.
It's pretty scary. Ooh.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go Steel here.
No,
it's
you're not.
It's 1996. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. I'm gonna go Brian Pillman.
All right, fuck. You know
It
what?
doesn't mean that he is going to fall under the same unfortunate circumstances.
I think an extended portion of this podcast is going to be early trades because at this point you have the Hart Foundation. I can't like we have split the Hart Foundation. We have I don't have the click to work on here.
Yeah, Heart Foundation split because I got Bulldog and Pillman. You've got Owen and Bret.
In the same vein of what you said that nobody knows what's going to happen, I'm going to select the Ultimate Warrior, and I think I have a main event scene.
You do Warrior Hogan, Warrior Yoko. Maybe he sticks around a little bit. Warrior Vader,
Warrior Sid, Warrior Bret. Like not terrible here. The rest of the picks kind of are though.
Actually, there's still some people I'm not
there's
super down on.
There's a couple.
I'll go. I'll plan for my future. I'll go Double J, Jesse James.
Well, you have the New Age Outlaws on the roster. I do appreciate your eye towards the future. I'm gonna hedge my bets here, and again, nobody knows what's gonna happen. I am going to take Fake Diesel because I can put him in the
knew you were gonna go with it.
All right, listen, I can do things.
That was gonna be my next pick of just being like, you didn't grab him. I'm gonna go for the future. I'm gonna go Isaac Yankum, Fake Diesel. I'm gonna bring Kane in because I got Undertaker on my side.
You know what you do? You son of a bitch. That's okay. I've got Diesel. You can't tell me.
Wonder how far it's gonna take before Fake Razor gets drafted. I'll go Mark Henry.
All right, I can live with that. I'll go Savio Vega.
He was another one I was kind of debating back about. Who was in the New Rockers? It was Jannetty and Al Snow.
Cassidy.
I'll go them because we got Al Snow on the brand with Mankind. I'll figure something out.
Doug Furness and Philip Lafont.
Who did you pick after Diesel? You got an empty slot there.
Savio.
You just got to move them up a little bit. Riveting podcast material. Okay. Let's see. Now we're starting to get pretty grim here.
The pickings are slim. The job guys haven't been touched.
Yeah, for good reason.
Hey, Tony, you're a fan of Tom Brady. He is on this roster.
I am. I have his autograph, but
yeah. See,
I'm gonna go Justin Hawk Bradshaw because I've got Farouk.
And so here is the ridiculous reason I left the spot open next to Fake Diesel. I wanted Fake Razor right underneath. I have a tag team.
You have a tag team.
Razor.
Good point. You got Jim Ross on your side too, so if you wanted to keep that going.
Yes.
Well, you can more than take Fake Razor from me. I wasn't planning on grabbing him for a while.
My God, you lose so many people between 95 and 96.
You really do, yeah.
You fucking lose so many good people. Oh my God, this is terrible.
Speaking of a good person, underrated, I'm going to go Bob Holly.
All right, I respect that. I am going to go Barry Wyndham. He's not the stalker in my world. Okay, he's just Barry Wyndham.
Awful character, the stalker.
We're going to put him against Bret Hart. He's going to fucking wrestle.
One person you're not going to be able to put against Bret Hart to wrestle?
No.
Jerry the King Lawler.
Okay, all right. You know who I will be able to put against Bret Hart and wrestle? Flash Funk. You can't tell me what to do. I get the Funkettes.
That's true.
Yeah, damn right I do. Yeah.
Do you remember their names though?
I don't. Tell me.
Neither do I.
I was gonna say,
does anybody remember the Funkettes names? How did we have the Funkettes with Flash Funk, and we had the Funkadactyls with Brodus Clay?
Because he's the Funkasaurus.
It's just
Funkadactyls, like, you know.
Clearly Vince likes the whole funk thing.
Oh, Vince McMahon loves Flash Funk. Like when he comes out, to hear Vince McMahon on commentary say, "I know that's right." Like what is Vince doing? Like Vince McMahon shouldn't be able to say these things. All right, the pickings are very slim here, and now I'm curious to see what you're gonna do.
It's not what I'm gonna do. It's who I'm going to draft.
You son of a bitch! You're the whole fucking Hart
Jim the
Foundation.
Anvil Neidhart. And he's not gonna be who? He's gonna be Jim Neidhart. And he can team with British Bulldog. I got a tag team going right here. Woo!
you First of all, I want to say that I am ashamed of myself that I didn't just pick up Jim Neidhart and pair him with Owen. All right.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice that. Who the fuck is the pug?
I don't know. He kept coming up.
I'm gonna have to Google this dude. Watch him be like, oh, he's actually fucking Chris Jericho in a mask or something like that. The pug wrestler. Alex Porto. Sure.
Who is he?
Alex the Pug Porto, otherwise known as Beach Bully, Custom Made Crippler, and Heartbreaker Apollo.
That didn't help at all.
No, that made things even harder because now I'm really under, like, the what kind of? Well, not the what. I'm under who? It's
Yeah.
He's got a fucked up haircut. That's one thing. Somebody went to the barber and they were just kind of like, yeah, just kind of do whatever you want on different
He doesn't
elements.
look terrible.
The
Like,
pug.
I'm looking at what it seems like they were doing with him.
The pug. It's like, hey, you want to be a wrestler? All right, kid, what's your name? Alex Porto. I go by all these other types of names. You're the pug. Well, I don't look anything like a pug. Well, we had a bulldog, so you're a pug.
Tony ripped my ass in this fucking
With the who pick?
with all of these, like, you know what?
That was
All
a
right.
steal. Well, it's Neidhart, but I got the rhino.
You get the fucking rhino.
I got the rhino. I got the bulldog. I got the crusher.
All right, I've got Jake the Snake Roberts. Again, you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you got the Jake and Austin thing. You could do that. There's no set time frame of exactly when this draft is happening either. It's like, who's to say that's not a pre-King of the Ring or something? Jake Robert.
All right, you're up.
Alrighty. Let's see. Now we're really on slim pickings. For anybody who's trying to keep track of this, these are the people that we have left. We have the Body Donnas, the Grimm Twins, Aldo Montoya, Barry Horowitz, Brooklyn Brawler, Duke the Dumpster Drosy, Freddie Joe Floyd, okay, Salvatore Sincere, TL Hopper, the Goon, the Puck, the Hardy Boys / the Jinx Bros, PG-13, Techno Team 2000, and the Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah.
That's a fucking group.
Yeah.
Well, do I pick a punch in the face or a slap to the groin? It's gonna. I'll go Body Donnas.
Of course you would. Why would you do anything else?
Yeah, there's not really a whole lot of other options to go with here.
I'm gonna go with. Yeah, I'm gonna go Sal Sincere. He's a big dude. Like, we can turn him into something.
Good old Tom Brandy. Speaking of turning somebody into something, I'm gonna go Hardy Boys. They have no indication that they're gonna be anything what they are right then, but they can work with Body Donnas.
But hey, you've time to trade that pick in for PG-13. You do have the nation.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'll take Ron and Don Harris, the Grimm Twins.
What a grim pick.
Fuck off. Like,
ooh.
now we're in like the free agent round of the draft where we're just like picking names out of a Tumblr.
Yeah, kind of, because it's not like anybody's gonna be like, "Oh, you stuck the fucking pug from me." Like, I'll keep a good old jobber. I'll go Barry Horowitz.
I'm gonna take Teal Hopper.
You can flush that guy right down the toilet. I was not planning on picking him.
Oh, you weren't? That's okay.
Teal Hopper is all yours.
I got plans for Teal Hopper. You laugh.
I'll go. Let me look up this Freddie Joe Floyd dude.
It's Tracy Smothers. If you'd know who that is.
Did not know. I actually don't know much about Tracy Smothers. He's friends with Snow and
Yeah.
Foley, right?
Yeah.
Well, that sucks for them because I'm gonna pick Aldo Montoya.
Hey, they like just incredible.
He can job out too.
Remember when I said I had plans for Teal Hopper? That's because the working men, Teal Hopper and Duke Drosy, are now a jobber tag team.
You got the trash man,
the garbage man, and the plumber.
That works because one of them he takes out shit, and the other one flushes shit.
That's right. Life's shitty.
Out of the dumpster boys or something like that.
Find some fun acronym for crap.
Charismatic
wrestlers
against
people.
The pug. Brooklyn Brawler. Let's go him. Why not? He can, I don't know, lose. He can team up with Barry Horowitz.
I'm going with Pug. I've never seen a damn thing this guy's done, but he looks like he can wrestle, and I got some wrestlers on my brand.
I'll go Freddie Joe Floyd, because if they are friends, then maybe
just take PG-13. What are you doing?
No, please. I don't want to.
All right, then. I have many tag teams because I'm taking PG-13.
Go for him.
You don't get a rapping introduction for the Nation of Domination, so suck it.
I'll just get the "We are the nation, a domination, nation, a domination."
No,
that was
surprise. That was them too. Deeper voice.
Somebody else can do it. You know who else can do it? The Honky Tonk Man. There you go. I'm gonna bring him over. That way I get my Honky Tonk Man plus Billy Gunn plus Jesse James, and they're a trio.
I begrudgingly accept the pick of the Goon, making Techno Team 2000 the final pick in the draft.
And we'll split them, because whoever the fuck they are, I don't know. We'll make them
it's Eric Watts and some other guy, I can't remember.
There you go. We merged the cell, and it's Techno Team 2000.
That's awful. That's terrible, Tony.
Fair is fair, right?
Yeah, I put them in the middle.
There you go. Techno Team 2000. I'll change their background to green, because that's
purple.
Purple makes more sense between red and blue. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
So our rosters are, I mean, they look as good as they can,
I think it's safe to say that while we had a lot of fun experimenting with the potential depth of 1995, 1996 is bare ass.
If you have one roster out of all these people, you're still missing some elements. If you got two rosters out of these two people within a month or so, no, maybe more than a month, within like 3 months, you're kind of going, all right, what are we going to do here? But there's potential. I mean, you got some feuds we've already seen. You got some feuds that would be brand new. Like, you do have, on my side, Brian Pillman and Goldust. You got the Pillman, Bulldog, Neidhart side of things for that side of the Hart Foundation.
there was a made for TV moment when that draft happens and Bret Hart goes over to Raw or Owen Hart or like because we split them pretty much right down the middle.
Pretty much, because Pillman's not
He's not a
like,
Hart, but
yeah,
like
and Neidhart's just sort of, Neidhart. But you got like, I got some prep for the future with Billy Gunn on the same brand as Jesse James. They both are on the same brand as Honky Tonk Man, so I can go in that trajectory. I probably wouldn't, but you got Sonny on the same brand as Shawn Michaels. He's away from Bret Hart. That's not a bad
again, I
idea.
think that's the best thing we've done in this brand is split
Maybe.
is we've split Shawn and Bret.
You got Owen and Yoko on the same brand. Owen and Bret on
Right.
the same brand. Uh, that Fatu and Yoko
Yokozuna
thing, like
pairing.
we never got to see that. That'd be something interesting.
Um I do have some decent main eventers. I have Bret, Sid, Ultimate Warrior, Vader, Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's there. And there's always things where like Perfect is my commissioner, let's say. So he could be like butting heads with Bret because, they had that competitive edge between them. Um Savio Vega, Mark Marrow, uh, Jake Roberts,
So you're
Flash
teaming
Funk.
up Flash Funk with somebody on your brand. Like you have to team him up with somebody. Who you picking?
He slaps PG-13 around. He's a pimp, and they are like the lackeys who have to get the girls.
You got on my side, New Rockers are there, so if at any point you want to split them, you got Al Snow and Mick Foley can team up, and you got Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty have a built-in thing. You never go back to having them as a tag team, but they could always like on an episode of Raw, it's like, you know what, I do have a partner, and it's Marty Jannetty. People will be like, oh my
Yeah,
god, you
like
remember the
nowadays
Rockers?
that would have happened a lot, whereas back then it didn't really happen. Nowadays it would have been like, oh my god, can you believe the Rockers are back together?
You got Trips and Shawn and
Yeah,
Billy and Jesse James. So you're only missing X Pac, but he's not available.
he's not in the company. I mean, you basically have DX, you've Goldust. I mean, you are going for that raw edge, no pun intended. I have this kind of like I'm a Saturday show. I'm more, family friendly. Like, let's let's try to build it around our wrestler champion Bret Hart. I've got the Ultimate Warrior. I'm going for the kids. I think like
Yeah, I think so. Because you got like the Godwins.
yeah, and it didn't. That was not a plan at all. The only one of these picks that was planned was I said I would take Fatu and Yoko if I got the chance, and I would take if I had to, I'd pair TL Hopper and Duke the Dumpster
I don't
Josie, and
think
I
that'd
got to
be a
do that.
bad team overall. Like, I mean, the theme works. Maybe not the wrestling would be all that great, but like, you got the dumpster dude and you got the toilet guy. So it's
Um, and all right, so let's round this out with a little bit of fun. We each have to pick 3 matches that we're building towards for the next year's WrestleMania, whatever they may be.
hmm. I'm thinking at this time frame, Undertaker Mankind.
Okay. So you're gonna keep them separate until we get to WrestleMania?
Maybe not necessarily separate, but maybe they feud all the way through to WrestleMania. Like, even when they're not feuding, they're feuding. And then that's
Okay.
like a big blow off at Mania because we can't get Undertaker Kane for for 98 or wait, 97.
For 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going towards 97.
You can't get Undertaker Kane for 97. So instead maybe you go Undertaker Mankind Hell in a Cell. And that's the big blow off. Uh
Okay.
Title match, whatever championship I've got, WWE title or Universal title or whatever it is. I'm hoping you build up Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and he's the heel fighting Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
And in my mid-card title match, I'll give you 4. I'll give you that, and I'll give you a tag team one, too. My mid-card title match, I'm going maybe British Bulldog against that young blue chipper Rocky Maivia. Tag title match, Smoking Guns pretty much have to be a part of it. Unless they are split and we got Billy and Jesse James at that point, which maybe I'd be able to get at that point. So I'm gonna go New Age Outlaws against maybe I have the foresight and I set them up against Farouk and Bradshaw. And have them as like Undertaker's. You know what? I never liked the idea of them being like the Undertaker's people. Maybe they're just 2 brawlers already. They go straight into the dudes playing poker and all that.
All right. And for me, my main event wrestling match. I mean, I'm cheating here, but it is 97 and I do have the foresight. How do you have anything but Bret Hart, Steve Austin in your WrestleMania head-to-head match?
Makes sense.
My mid-card championship match, I'm gonna say Owen Hart goes against, booking on the fly here, Owen Hart, Flash Monk.
I thought you'd go Ahmed.
Nope. Because my grudge match is Ahmed, Savio, Vega in a street fight. And in my secondary grudge match, the Ultimate Warrior faces Sid. Now let's have a little fun with this. That's an 8-match card. Let's add 1 9th match, and it's the only interpromotional match we get. Who would you put from Raw?
Are you doing 1-on-1 or are you doing
Well, you tell me. Like, how would you like to do this?
I mean, I always loved that whole Andre Battle Royal. Throw everybody in, kind of, make that a number 1 contenders match or something like that.
Well, I would say, like, if you had to have like one-on-one that these 2 guys, they need to go at it. Who
Like
would
a
you
brand
put up?
warfare kind of thing.
Yeah.
Who do I got left? I got I don't have Farouk. So I have Crush, Goldust, Brian Pillman, Mark Henry, The Rockers, Bob Holly.
There's an easy one here, and I'm wondering, I will pick the perfect match for you no matter who you pick.
Wait, who's that? I got Crush left. I've got Goldust, Pillman.
You got Crush, Pillman.
So it's got to be one of those because I mean Henry isn't as big of a deal at that time. No, nobody's going to go with like Bob Holly, even though like he's been good in a lot of ways. Out of that list, I mean, the more fun one would be Pillman, but I think I'd probably go Goldust.
And that's what I thought you'd say. So it's Goldust with Marlena versus Mark Marrow with Sable. Lots of interaction from the girls. Goldust and Mero have a fine wrestling match, I'm sure. Could do some little Richard interaction. Let's, like, we could have some fun with it.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm going with this even more so. We're gonna go Goldust with Marlena versus Mark Marrow with Sable. I'm gonna book the rest of this card. We have about like 16 matches on the cards at WrestleMania these days, so I'm gonna add another couple matches or something. I'm gonna go on my side that we're having a big man brawl. We're going Crush versus Mark Henry. What's another match on your side? You don't have a tag team match.
I don't have a tag team title match, but I'm gonna add one right now. Doug Furnas and Phil LaFawn take on. You know what? They take on Yokozuna and Fatu. Can they out wrestle the monsters?
I was surprised you went with that instead of Yoko versus Vader and the Godwins against Furnace and LaFawn.
Nope. I'm still Vader. Vader. I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at Vader wins the battle royal, whatever that is. He wins it like he's Vader.
So let's see. How many matches is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9.
We have 5 each. I think it's 11.
So we got 11. So what other matches do I got on my end? So I've got Pillman. I've got I write myself a little note here. I got Pillman. I've got Rockers, Holly, Lawler, Neidhart, Body Donnas, Hardy Boys, and Jobbers, which they're not getting on the card. Nobody's picking Aldo Montoya. I'm assuming I've got one more match that I can do, and the rest go into a battle royal. I mean, let's just add that in there. Battle royal, interpromotional. That balances that out. So yeah, one more match apiece. Let's go with that one. I'll go Pillman and Neidhart versus Rockers with like a number 1 contenders match or something. That way I get like Bob Holly, Jerry Lawler, the Body Donnas, Hardy Boys, those kind of guys are in that battle royal, and they can totally get their asses whooped by Vader on your side.
Yeah.
Imagine Vader picking up the Hardy Boys and chucking them and stuff, you know?
I'm gonna go with. Let's see.
So you got left. You got you already used Fatu. So you got. I was gonna say Gorilla Monsoon. He ain't wrestling. You got Jake the Snake. You got Godwins.
Got Jake. Got Godwins. Got the Grim Twins. Got Vader, but we've established he's going in the battle royal.
Salvatore Sincere, TL Hopper, and Duke Drosy.
I will go with a 6-man tag team.
Oh, you got Fake Diesel and Fake Razor.
They're battle royal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. 6-man tag team match. Jake Roberts teams with the Godwins to go up against Barry Wyndham and the Grim Twins.
So our WrestleMania for this year is you got 2 basically throwaway matches of 6-man tag of Jake the Snake Roberts and the Godwins against Barry Wyndham and the Grim Twins. In theory, balances it out because you got Godwins, Country Boys, Grim Twins, Country Boys.
There's animals there. There's pigs. There's snakes.
Yeah, you got the slop bucket, and he's got the snake. Barry Wyndham's somebody who is more of a veteran, and he can be the better veteran against Jake the Snake and whatever. You got Pillman and Neidhart taking out the Rockers because they're a tag team, and the Rockers, screw those guys. You got your interpromotional Goldust mixed tag team match, Goldust and Marlena against Mark Marrow and Sable. Get a little bit of sex appeal on there. Have brand warfare type of thing. Vader wrecks shop at the Battle Royal and looks strong.
Yeah, he wins the title match. Whatever the fuck that Battle Royal is for, he wins it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal or whatever, he's one of the big guys. He goes in there, he's the favorite to win, and he just picks people up and tosses them like nothing. You got the big man brawl of Crush against Mark Henry, which
like a tag team title match. Furnace and LaFawn taking on the Yoko and Fatu, the Samoans.
Probably go Yoko and Fatu win, right?
I'm thinking I would cheat my way out of it and do like a They all got in the ring and started fighting and double DQ.
I'd go Mark Henry beats Crush. That's like he's still on the rise, and it's like, look at this kid. He just beat Crush, you know? One of those.
Oh,
Like, kind of like the way that Ryback should have beaten Mark Henry.
I would agree with that.
Opposite way around, though. Who'd you go with Jake and Godwin's? Probably them.
Oh, Jake and the Godwins.
That way they could
Grimsmith
all
are getting
celebrate.
slapped. Wyndham's getting the snake on him. Open it up with some happiness.
Either open it up like that or you make that the free for all match on the pre show.
Yeah,
Because
like
that's free
it's
for all back then.
definitely just like a very happy moment.
You got New Age Outlaws against the APA, which I wouldn't call them the Acolytes Protection Agency because we wouldn't have the Acolytes. I never thought that was really all that great. So they call themselves something else other than APA, but I don't know what they'd
I
call
can't
them.
believe like you just didn't put the nation together. I'm glad I took Ahmed away from you. Like,
Who's to say there's not Ahmed? I'm not Ahmed. A nation in a different format though. Who's to say it's not? At one point in the year, Farouk, Mark Henry, Rocky.
that
We
could
don't have
happen.
D'Lo, you know.
Well, D'Lo just magically comes in.
Yeah. Um, for that matter, I mean, not to say that Mark Henry's not a heel against Crush, and that APA aren't the heels against New Age Outlaws. You know,
That's true.
British Bulldog could be fighting Rocky Maivia as not necessarily the blue chipper, but he could be fighting him as this punk ass kid, and Bulldog could be the babyface. Wouldn't make a
I
whole lot
like
of
that.
sense though, because then Pillman and Neidhart are heels against Rockers.
I
Maybe
like
they
that
don't have to be though.
we've managed to put Owen and Bulldog in the exact same spots on the card,
Yeah. Although
opposite
yours
one
is against
another.
Flash Funk though, I did not see that coming.
That would be a great high flying exhibition for 1997. I can see, um, Flash Funk maybe goes for the 450, or did he do the 450? No, he did the shooting star, right? He goes for that.
I think he does a
Owen gets
450.
Owen gets the knees up, rolls him up. He walks out with the mid card title and sneaks away a quick victory on Flash Funk. But a good match though.
And you're balancing out my crush on Mark Henry with Ultimate Warrior and Sid.
Yes, this is straight up. It's Ultimate Warrior and Sid. It's a lot of yelling. It's a lot of screaming. It's a lot of who's the man. I think Ultimate Warrior has to win. We're imagining that like we can always make him the top babyface.
Plus, if he wins and Vader's that like kind of number one contender, Warrior and Vader down the line, if you haven't done it already. You got Ahmed and Savio, kind of a gang warfare sort of thing going on. If you
Oh
got
yeah, my imagination basically says Chicago street fight PG-13s with Savio. Maybe by this point you even brought some of the Bariquas in. Ahmed wreck shop, beats Savio. Maybe pro of a plunge on the hood of a car. Don't know, but Ahmed would win that one.
I got
Uh,
Taker and Mankind in the Hell in a Cell.
a lot
Crazy
of
ass match.
you used a lot of foresight.
Yeah. Well, even if you don't do it that, you got plenty of options. They ran through the gamut of, well, this one's a boiler room brawl, and this one's buried alive match, and this one's a casket match. I always loved casket matches. You could do that. You could do that's when Paul Bearer
I was
returns, or
saying, is this
like
where you have Paul Bearer turn on him?
actually I probably would have had them turn earlier. But like maybe this is the match where Undertaker takes out Paul Bearer. Maybe he's in the shark cage thing or something, like Taker Mankind, you can't go wrong. Just like you can't go wrong with Bret Hart and Austin.
Yeah, and I think as much as I love Triple H and Shawn Michaels, for this card, for this WrestleMania, Bret and Austin has to be the closing match.
I think so.
Yeah. I would say I don't know if we go with the full double turn. Maybe like this is the one where Austin. Let's say he cheated at the Royal Rumble and he like instead of throwing Bret out of the ring, he threw Warrior out, and this is the one where Austin thinks he's got it won, and Bret kind of just outsmarts him.
Just rolls him up or something.
Yeah, he does the thing where like Austin goes for the stunner, and Brett manages to kind of drop to his knees and get to some kind of pinning combination, and WrestleMania goes off the air with Austin livid, but Bret Hart's the champion. And I would venture a guess on the other side of that, Shawn Michaels is the champion. Why can't they end WrestleMania staring each other down?
Could do almost like the opposite of
Eddie
Eddie
and Benoit,
and
yeah.
Benoit. Yeah.
They stare each other down, and then it's, well, what happens in the next draft? Will Shawn and Bret be on the same shows?
But
Who is
by that
here?
time, you got Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They found a newfound respect for each other in that feud. Suddenly, they're tagging up with the New Age Outlaws, and Bret's looking to get his Hart Foundation back, and you know,
I mean, Austin, he's always been a bit of a lone wolf, but he can always find an alliance with somebody. There's Ahmed,
yeah, Austin
Ahmed
and Ahmed
Austin.
make sense.
Vader's got a guaranteed title match. Again, my show is a lot different in the sense that I think we're forced. It's like a family friendly program, but like you can still tell some good stories. Because if you've got Vader and Brett at the next pay per view with the looming idea of a draft, who's to say Taker doesn't come over to Superstars? Now you got Taker and Vader for the championship as Brett goes over to Raw to, you know, confront that snot nosed Shawn Michaels.
Not actually all that bad.
Yeah, I think we managed to make it work because imagine that. Like, you just managed to make things work.
So over the course of an hour, you've not only written down all the names of the people and sorted out, like here's what we're working with, but we balanced out the rosters, planned out a good number of feuds that would lead to a WrestleMania, and then set up things for afterward. See how it's not that hard?
Now, granted, I will give them this. We're not dealing with ego and we're not dealing with injury. That is an intangible that we don't have to deal with as we make a mock 1996 roster. But I think we handled that very well because again, the first move was to split Brett and Shawn Michaels, keeping them on equal footing. Imagine that. Like, imagine the participation trophy mentality towards these two, where it's like, hey, you guys are equals on
Yeah,
different shows. Like,
that could have gone a long way because it could have been like, yeah, Brett, we need you to be on the other show to be the top guy, and Shawn, we need you to be the top guy on here. Then they could both be like, yeah, well,
and
I'm the top
literally,
guy, and start kind of trying to do as good as they can to win the ratings. So they're putting on a better show with it. It's actual brand competition, you know?
you literally play into their mentality, and you're like, Brett, we need you on this show because Superstars is the family friendly show, and you're, you are the role model to the kids. Shawn, we need you to go be raw, you know?
Right. We need this dark Taker and Mankind feud to go on the show where we're running a little bit later, so the parents aren't going to be as upset. And we got the New Age Outlaws. Well, they're not New Age Outlaws at
And
the
we didn't
time,
even
but
get into like the fact that you have Sonny. Who's
mhm.
to say that Shawn isn't champion because he's busy, banging the general manager or whatever? Like,
Yeah, you could turn him heel like that. You got you separate Sonny and Brett, so that's one less backstage issue.
and
You separate HBK and Vader. Now you do
right,
separate
that's not an
Cornette and
issue.
Vader. I didn't think about that because Cornette's on my
Right,
side.
but that ended up happening anyway.
Yeah, true. Vader ended up just being by himself. And who's to say you don't just pair him with like JR or something like that if you need
I
to.
think the most unlikely match on my card, honestly, is Warrior and Vader because I mean Warrior and Sid because they both flake constantly. So it's a bit hard to book, but really, this is as good as it gets.
Like I would switch a couple things on your WrestleMania side. Like I'd go I probably would have gone Yoko versus Vader instead of Warrior Sid, but I think that Warrior Sid makes more sense after you said it. And if Yoko and Fatu are the tag champs, I mean, then yeah, they got to put them in a tag title match and something. So
And I'm going with the idea that, like, if we start this in May of '96, then Yoko and Vader have had their
yeah.
little blow off at WrestleMania 12. But, like, this, it's not great. You definitely, after putting it down on paper, see how broken the '96 roster was. But I also genuinely like what we put together. I think, who's to say that the mixed tag match isn't a major talking point coming out of the show?
Hmm.
You know? Also, by this point, Hunter has China. Who's to say that China's not ragdolling Sunny somewhere? Like,
Yeah, like they could do that kind of scenario where HBK's got Sonny by his side, Triple H has China. Maybe that's
it's
almost like a playoff of WrestleMania 11 with Jenny McCarthy and
and Pam
Pam
Anderson.
Anderson.
Because you can say that, oh, Sable, Sunny's been using her power to, like, help her cocky boyfriend, and Hunter just gets this Amazon to, okay, I won't hit you, but she will.
Yeah, I promise that I won't lay my hands on the general manager. I got
But
someone who could do the job for me. And she comes out and beats the shit out of
and
Sonny.
it's totally like,
Sonny could
you
do the
know,
whole like I'm hot and you're jealous because you're this
yeah,
Amazon type, like
and then that's when you eventually move Sonny out of power, and maybe you put in a Vince McMahon.
for him to go.
And
"Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa."
or, like, you tell stories that way, or, like, even, it wouldn't be the greatest thing, but even maybe Cornett on top of Raw. So many options.
There's lots of flexibility. There's lots of like,
I mean, don't get us wrong, it's a skeleton crew. I mean, we
yeah,
legit were picking from, like, Teal Hopper and Duke the Dumpster Drosy, but not bad.
but it's like that just goes to show you if you got the time and if you put the effort into it, you could take a roster like the one we've got right now in WWE, which has so many talented people, and you can pick and choose on a draft, figure out how to balance it out, figure out some new tag teams to create. I mean, like, I'll just do it on the fly right now. I'll go on the roster page and I'll just figure out another tag team to make. Name somebody who doesn't have a tag team right now and isn't doing anything where it's like clearly wouldn't be in a tag team. Like McIntyre
Um,
is not going to be in a tag team.
on the current day roster,
Yeah.
Ricochet.
So Ricochet, he's on Raw, right? Yeah, he's on Raw. So the people that you've got available for Ricochet, you got Tozawa. That's not going to make a whole lot of sense. Andrade, no. Garza, no. Ruas, no. Lashley, Big Show, Wyatt, Cedric Alexander. You can't do Cedric Alexander. I think Ricochet, if you're going to put him in a tag team, even though I wouldn't really love the idea of this guy going down and being a tag team guy instead of being something else, you put him with Keith Lee and you make it toward one guy's a high flyer and the other guy's the power game or something.
If I had Ricochet on Raw right now, who could I pair him up with? Um, I mean, I can cheat and pair him with Chad Gable, because Chad Gable shouldn't have been free agented and then picked up a same show he was on. That's just me. Like, it's see, the problem is the that we were able to do this because even the lowest guys on the totem pole had gimmicks to where I could easily go, hey, Teal Hopper and Duke Drosy, they both work with shit, you know?
Well, why not?
Whereas,
Like, if you're working on the WWE roster these days, why not take a Shorty G and go, oh God, Shorty G is awful. Let's put him on Raw Underground.
because they don't think that far.
Right. That's the problem with that whole thing
So
is like,
it immediately becomes, oh well, at least we have characters to work with here. Guys today don't have characters. So when you take the ability to put them in a high profile wrestling match, you lose so much.
yeah, because these days it's like, okay, tag somebody with Mojo Rawley, and you go, well, what's his personality? you know?
And you go, "Oh, I guess he doesn't have one these days." Okay, well then, what can I do?
Yeah, like Mojo right now, I can't think of anybody that would be a really good tag team partner for Mojo Rawley.
Um,
I'd maybe consider making him one of Corbin's underlings, just because Corbin's a guy who actually has presence, and Rawley could just be a dude, you know?
I was thinking about that. Corbin today, one of the best things about Corbin, he's so protected. His finish, I don't think anybody's kicked out of it, and if they have, probably Roman. You know,
Roman
like
or Seth.
it's so protected.
But that alone, like, if you look at a Mojo and you're like, well, this guy's not doing enough on his own, and if you put him with a guy like a Corbin, some people, that's their best part, is that they're the guy that goes with the other guy. Like, on this 1996 roster, we're not getting much out of, Barry Horowitz. He's a job guy. But if you put Barry Horowitz and Brooklyn Brawler together and they end up being a tag team that can lose to the Body Donnas, suddenly he can lose to singles people and tag team people. And they're a tag team of two dudes who want to win a match. There you go.
Right.
You get Bob Holly. What's Bob Holly doing? Spark plug Bob Holly. Not, well, at this point, he's not, right? 96?
He's still spark plug, yeah.
He's not Thurman plug.
No, he's
But
not Thurman. No.
so it's like Bob Holly, eventually he learns how to be this hardcore wrestler and everything, but he's a solid hand. He could have been a good mid-card champion at one point in his career. You put Bob Holly with a couple different people, he can work with the new rockers. He couldn't be a rocker by any means. You
And
know,
I mean, you did split the Gun, so you can always just put him with the Bart Gun. Then they could be the new Midnight Express. You have Jim
you
Cornette.
got Cornette, yeah. So it's like, I don't dislike something like the new Express. Because to me, like, yeah, that's like kind of like it shits on an old tag team or whatever. I don't have any ties to that old tag team to be like, this is disrespectful or whatever. But I don't fault WWE for trying to take somebody and put them in the Legion of Doom and make them another Road Warrior. Maybe they shouldn't have gone with Draws and Heidenreich, but I get it, you know?
Yeah, and it's. I think it comes down to this: they need to start interjecting personalities into these people, so that when you do have them at the bottom of the card, you can at least pair them easily.
Like, we'll talk about this later on this week when we get to the hot tags, but Titus O'Neil tonight on Monday Night Raw approaches the Hurt Business and he's like, hey, I dressed the part and I looked the part and I could take this worldwide. And it's like, okay, just because you're a black guy in a suit the way like the other guys are black guys in a suit does not mean you're a good fit for the tag team, Titus. Fuck you. And they attack him. And I'm like, good. You know, Titus O'Neil's not the right person to fit for that because that's not his type of character.
And at the end of the day, they have all these people. They're always going to have all these people because it's really just about hoarding talent. I hate to put it in that light, but it really is. Like, they're just hoarding talent so other people can't have them. And it ends up leading to people being more bitter than they ever were before.
Because you're just sitting around not doing anything.
Yep.
You got a Drew Gulak who's running away from Tozawa and trying to reach R-Truth, and that's all you can do with him in one segment on Raw.
At least Tozawa is firmly planted in that Drake Maverick role right now.
And my Drake Maverick on my side of this 96 thing would probably be Barry Horowitz. Yours would probably be, I don't know, the Pug?
No, I genuinely I think I can do stuff with the Pug because it looks like his gimmick is he's a wrestler, so I can live with that because maybe he does kind of go under the wing of a Bret Hart or something where he'll be worth having on my roster. My Drake Maverick is probably the Goon.
The Goon sucks so bad. Not a fan of the Goon.
Yeah, not great.
I could see you teaming up Tom Brandy and the Pug by his real name. It's
Well,
two
like
two
I would
guys.
try.
Yeah.
You know, I cause Sal Sincere, I always thought like he has a good look to him. Why didn't he ever become a thing? Because that they don't know what they're doing.
Would you keep him as Sal Sincere, or would you make him like a Tom Brandy?
For my roster, for the vibe I think this show has, he would have to be Sal Sincere until like you eventually make that jump to Stone Cold, where okay, people are gonna start being more gritty and real, and then he can be Tom Brandy and maybe punch Owen Hart in the mouth or something.
You team him up with Furnace and LaFon, maybe some kind of like French
I think I'd
connection.
team up the pug with Furnace on the pocket, but all they really do is wrestle. That's their whole deal is they're wrestlers.
Doug Furnace and Philip LaFon are one of those tag teams that I can't tell you much about, but because it was in that 96, 97 era, I'll
You
never
know them
forget
very
them.
well.
You
Yeah.
know, like if you were to tell me like name tag teams, eventually I'd name Furnace and LaFon, and I wouldn't be able to name probably some people that were on like 2008 or something.
I feel like if I said to you, "Hey, you remember, the Highlanders?" You wouldn't remember the Highlanders, but you might remember Doug Furnace and Phil LaFon, or you might not
I
remember.
I can tell you one of them was Rory, and I don't remember the other one's name.
That's funny because the other one should have an easier name to remember. Maybe I think that because it's my name, but it's Rory and Robbie.
Really, Robbie?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, couldn't tell you that. Can't pick them out of a crowd. Can't tell you if either of them had hair or if they were bald. No
One was
idea.
bald, one had hair.
There you go.
Mhm.
But splitting the difference between that. It's like I can't tell you that, but I can be like, oh, Doug Furnace and Full of Fun. Yeah, okay. You know?
Yeah. It's amazing how our brains just do that for things that we were, whether it was you were younger for or whatever it is. But like our brains, like I did this the other day. I don't know if we were on the air when I just like recited the entire tag team championship lineup
Right,
until
for
like
like a good,
98.
I don't know how many years.
Yeah, like I got to like 98, 99 before I had to stop, and it's like your brain just does that.
I remember back in the day having that trivia game. There was like a red box and had like uh Undertaker and Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and everybody on the front. Sid was on there. I think Vader was on there too. And I remember being able to answer like 9 out of 10 of those questions. Now, of course, there's
Yeah,
been decades of extra trivia since then, but like back then, even the stuff that I didn't watch, where I'd be able to say, like, oh, okay, Pedro Morales dropped the title to whatever. Nowadays, it's sort of like,
yeah. If
uh,
you could tell me like, hey, name all 9 of the Miz's IC title wins, I'd be like, I don't think I can.
I'd be like, Kofi's got to be one of them. One of
I
those kind of
don't think
things.
he. I like only one I would know is I think he beat Ziggler. That's for sure. He beat Ryder
Barrett.
and Barrett. That's the only one I know. 6 of them, I don't know.
Roman Reigns for the United States title or the
No,
Intercontinental.
Roman Reigns was one of the ICs. Yep.
Yes, even
Uh,
that. It's like, and that was like 2 years ago or something.
I think if memory serves, I think his first IC title win might have been Christian's last or one of Christian's last matches. But like, there's like a good 3 or 4 wins in there that I just don't know.
Insane. But hey, that's how it works.
And I hope you enjoyed this mock draft because I want to do this every chance Tony gets to be able to do it. I'll gladly jump on and make a roster list.
So if you really liked this, if you want us to do another one, maybe you want us to just keep this going and do a 97 next or something, then by all means, let me know. Of course, if you want to make sure that we do it, then do the pick your poison tier for the Patreon. Because this is just it's not only just for fun, but it's a way to keep you guys informed. Like this is the type of stuff that we do just randomly on the Patreon. The Darkcasts are Patreon exclusives, so you're never going to be able to hear them unless you're a part of that. But if you can't do the $10 and up tier, and you still want to help out in some way, even $1 makes a big difference, especially when it comes to the wedding fund because everything's expensive and I
And
hate
I'll
it.
go a step further. If you want us to like, let's say not even do a mock draft. Let's say you just want us to rebook WrestleMania 10, and you're like, hey, don't put Lex Luger in the title match. Rebook that whole card. Gladly. Like just pick your poison. I want to do so much more of this stuff. This is the reason why I even started doing any of the wrestling pundit side of things, just because I enjoy talking about this stuff. You know, I enjoy looking at the past and being like, well, what could have been done differently here?
And if
And
you do it in an era that I know, then
yeah,
I love going back in time and being like, man, you know what? I do remember how much fun that was when they were doing this feud between Owen and Brad, or like, man, I remember being super pumped about Ken Shamrock against DX and thinking that he's the guy that's going to beat them, like that kind of thing. I remember what I liked. I actually legitimately liked the Patriot. I was
you
like,
know,
this dude's
I
going to
was
be a
hoping for
guy.
some of
Like,
this roster because I could have done something with the Patriot. I would have put him at the top of my family friendly brand.
yeah, him against Canadian Brett. Like,
Hot take. I bet if we do a 97 and even a 98 draft, Ken Shamrock's going to be one we fight over. Because
probably, yeah.
Shamrock really should have been a thing.
He'd be one of those like top couple of picks for sure. Not to spoil anything, but yeah.
Legitimacy. I mean, like, how can you not fight over a guy who is that legitimate?
So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. And I kind of liked this idea too that you brought up of like booking a WrestleMania based off of that. If we still had our '95 list like readily available or whatever,
I
and
still
if
have it readily. I saved the picture of it.
that might be something. I don't know. Maybe we'll do another Darkcast and try to balance that out or something. But yeah, just a sneak peek, let you guys know what we do on the dark casts here. Plus, figure out that on top of that, we're also just kind of goofing around and being like, what's great,
You know, it's great wrestling when we actually
Oreos.
enjoyed it.
Do a little snack talk, do a little talk about Spider Man, whatever we're doing at the time. So if you do like it, consider donating to the Patreon and just hit that like button on this if you like this one. If you want more Wrestling with the Past, more mock drafts, more anything else like that, stay tuned. Let us know. Drop your comments below. Tell us which of the rosters you liked better too. If you'd be like, man, you know what? If I had to watch one show, and if I was a little kid, I'd rather watch Superstars or
Honestly, if I
uh,
had to watch one show, I'm watching your show. Like, I like my roster, and I like Brett and Owen, and like I think the top of my card looks good, but you have more of my favorites. I
yeah,
don't
I
know where I ended up like losing some of the big ones, like Pillman or even like the Body Donnas.
yeah, I don't even like the body, honestly. You know what?
The Body Donnas are good.
Maybe that's not a really good idea for me to have the body Donnas and Sonny and Shawn on the same one.
It's you're kind of favoring Sunny because listen, she's with Chris. She's gonna be with Chris, go home to Chris, but she's also gonna not be with Chris.
It'll be like a little birdie told me that you're sleeping around the roster. Who is it that you're fucking? And she'll be like, not Neidhart.
Neidhart, listen. You're also doing stuff with Davey. We can get you, Davey. I'm gonna keep you away from Brett though. He has family.
That's right. Yeah, Davey's on the same roster too. That's kind of that's a dicey situation, but we got Vince McMahon there. We got Jim Cornette there. Cornette can wrangle some people. Yeah, hopefully
Good
you enjoyed
times.
this, everybody. And I did my plugs, other than the fact that obviously you should be staying tuned to everything else that's happening our way, and you could be checking out everything on eWrestling News and Bleacher Report and everything else on Smark at Moment and Fanboys Anonymous. Just go to Tony Mango on Facebook and Twitter, and you'll find out all these automated posts and everything else that I post, like the fact that I hate the Monday Night Raw theme now, but we'll talk about that more on
Oh,
the
I
hot
can't
tags.
wait. I can't wait for Friday. Like,
We got some plugs you want to toss out too, so go ahead.
I do. So again, if you're on the Darkcast here, not only does it greatly help us and you can get our 95 discussion and other Darkcast discussions we did where I think we watched like a Papa Shango match or something one time. You get the pay-per-view reviews for the Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast, which is another retro review where Callum Wiggins and myself go back to all the episodes of SmackDown where Paul Heyman was the head writer. Now, on the Darkcast here today will be No Mercy 2002. So later in the day, that'll be uploaded to the Patreon. If you pay for the Darkcast here, you will get access to that. We talk about Katie Vick. We talk about Jerry Lawler consistently saying semen. We talk about Al Wilson, paying homage to Bill Clinton. It's a weird show, but if you want to hear it, it's on the Darkcast here for you. The next episode of Paul Heyman SmackDown podcast will come this Saturday with all the follow-up from No Mercy. And outside of that, I'm on the WrestleZone podcast feed Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Do WrestleZone news Tuesday through Friday. I'm on Fightful's podcast Wednesday nights after AEW and NXT. And I'm on Fightful News Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for this weekend's Bound for Glory on Saturday, Hell in a Cell on Sunday, and then I'm back here with Tony to talk about Hell in a Cell. That's my week. Keep clicking around. Follow me on Twitter at DudeFelice. I hope you enjoyed this. I want to do more of this and less of the other stuff. So
Yeah.
if you enjoyed this, please let us know, and we'll be seeing you when we see you.
Yep. Next thing's coming is that Hell in a Cell pay-per-view predictions.
There's 4 matches.
There's 4 matches right now, and it's Tuesday.
4 matches. So a lot of that podcast is going to be, what do you think is going to be added?
Why do we not have a title match for these 5 championships or whatever? And what do you think that they're going to toss out at the last minute on Saturday? That'll be a rush for me to put up on there. But, maybe they surprise us and tomorrow afternoon they say 15 matches on the card or something. Better not be 15. I don't know if it'd be that long. But, yeah, we will see you then, everybody. That's happening on Wednesday. Then, of course, we get into the whole rest of the week. So hopefully it's a good week. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully you're all safe and sound. I liked the thing I read earlier today. Hopefully you're all staying positive and testing negative. I like that. I thought that was pretty good. So, yeah, we'll see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another bonus episode of the Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.